Hello everyone, I'm AnimusJ and welcome to another Minecraft video. Today we are back on JWorld and today's going to be a little bit of a special episode. I've actually already done everything that we're going to do in today's episode, and that is because I was walking around looking at all the things that needed to be done, and I basically I made a list and the list was of all the things that needed to be done, and it was a ton of little things, and that's why I've called this video A Million Little Things. And so what I've done is I've gone around, and it's probably very dark down here and YouTube does not compress these dark areas very well, or I don't know how to record them very well. I know that when I record them they come out beautiful, but when they go up on YouTube they're not so beautiful. So anyways, I have done a ton of work, hours upon hours actually, but they're all very small things like moving the chest and that sort of a deal. So I'm going to go back, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to narrate all the clips that I recorded of me doing a million little things. But first I want to show you guys all the loot that we ended up with when I finally broke down all of the materials, all of the ores and everything that I had collected from digging out this area. So this is all from these, how many chunks is this? 9? Yes. All from these 9 chunks. This is everything that I got. So that is not bad at all. I mean, 17 diamond blocks, holy smokes. All right, so let's check out everything that I've done. So the first thing I did was go through and gather a bunch of sand, and I mean a bunch. Next, of course, we had to smelt all that sand down into glass, and I decided to throw in all of the iron and all of the gold that we had collected from digging out the giant hole underneath Skylands. Next up, I took a lot of that glass, turned it into black stained glass, and that's because I finally got sick and tired of falling into all the bedrock, so everywhere in between the top layer of bedrock, we put down black stained glass. Then, because I had extra black stained glass, I figured it was probably about time to patch that creeper hole in the top layer of glass above the big hole. And on the way back down, I noticed we had a spider, so I stopped and I filled in all of the spawnable locations on top of the creeper farm. After I did that, I stopped to admire my redstone going to work, because let's be honest, it's just satisfying when things do what they're supposed to do. Next up on the list, I went caving. And I mean caving. I spent hours, guys, stacks upon stacks of torches spent lighting up all of these caves. It was ridiculous. Literally hours, guys. I stacked up all of the coal that we had several times from bedrock all the way to the Skylands. It was actually so much I had to jump down and collect what was at the bottom before it despawned. Yeah, it was a lot. And then I moved those 2 water elevators that connect up to the Skylands I had told you about that were in the wrong place. I stopped to take a selfie with my adoring public. And I moved all of the redstone that was underneath those water elevators as well. So all the water elevators are now in the proper location and functioning just like they should be. I found some more adoring fans, but these guys were a little bit rowdy, so we had to kind of take care of them a little bit. One of them had a really fast skeleton horse, so I went ahead and made him my own and secured him to a post. Next, I broke down all of the glass that was surrounding the slime farm, which is working great, by the way. And then I replaced it with the cyan stained glass all the way around and all the way to the top. And by the way, I think I found a solution for our collection for this, but I'll talk about that in a little bit. I noticed that there were spiders gathering in the bottom of the creeper farm where there was no magma blocks. So what I did is went underneath and placed down a couple of stained glass, but I ended up coming back and surrounding it completely with stained glass because the solution I'm putting in right here didn't actually work very well. So now it's completely encased with stained glass and it's doing a lot better. Then I went around the outside and surrounded it with magma blocks because some of the spiders were falling on the edge and not dying. And then I had to go through and remove the bottom layer of glass from the slime farm because some of the slimes were getting caught up on it and trying to get the snow golems. And so I replaced those with stained glass as well. Then I went back and put smooth stone along the bottom just because it looks a little bit nicer and I want to get this looking a little more finalized. Spent a bit of time out at the Guardian farm. And that's because I wanted to fully repair everything that I had, all of my tools and all of my armor as well. And as you can see from this clip, it didn't actually take very long to do at all. These guys really do give you a lot of XP. And with everything mended up, I dug down to the mine shaft that I had written down the coordinates for. I found it while I was caving. And I went around and explored, but primarily I was looking for railroad tracks. And even though the primary focus was on the tracks, I did manage to find, I believe, 4 spider spawners. Some of them were cave spiders, some of them were normal, and I tried to leave in as many of the cobwebs as possible so that I could write down the coordinates, come back to them later, and collect all of those with some shears. And here's the last one that I found. Some of them, as I said, were cave spiders and some of them were normal. And after that, one of the things that I wanted to do was get all of the chests out of the bottom of the giant hole. So I dug a hole adjacent to the big hole and then connected it to a water elevator shooting all the way up to the top, and I filled that up with a whole lot of chests. I staggered the chests because I wanted to be able to transport all of these items through a minecart system using all of the rails that we collected earlier, because eventually what I want to do is get them all over to the desert temple or the pyramid. I use redstone to block off those hoppers for the time being so that nothing will transport, but when we're ready, all of those items will flow down nicely for us. Then I tested it out and yeah, it didn't work. So I came behind, and anywhere that I could, basically anywhere that there wasn't bedrock, I went ahead and put down some ice. Tested it out again. And it still didn't work. Made a couple of adjustments and we were able to get everything to the top. A couple more adjustments and we were finally and eventually able to get all of the items into the chest. So here I am, just breaking all the chests, picking up all the items, throwing all of the items into the water stream and letting them shoot up to the top and collect into the chest. And yeah, it's a lot of stuff. And this is why I didn't want to make a whole bunch of trips back and forth. It's just a whole lot easier to just stand here dumping it all into the water stream, let it shoot up there, collect in the chest, and then we'll use a minecart to transport it over to the pyramid later on. And so there you have it. There is our million little things. Let me show you though, because we were working in this area the entire time, I'd like to show you how we did on our farm. So our creeper farm is really acting like more of a spider farm, which is, it's not a design problem necessarily as much as it's just creepers don't want to spawn. We also have an issue, I might be able to show it, where what's happening is for some reason the dispensers are spitting out the buckets of water rather than collecting them. Yeah, you can see that floor is wet and none of the rest of them are. Over half of these dispensers don't even have water in them at this point in time. So I thought it was a chunk boundary issue, but it's not because they're all inside the same chunk. I think what it has to do is with the repeaters being right in front of the dispensers, that when they are loaded into lazy chunks or one of those fancy words, that it's spitting the bucket rather than dispensing the water. So I'm going to try reorganizing the repeaters and see if we can solve that problem. But when it comes to slime and cactus, you can see we're killing it. Guys, we're doing so good. Look at this. I already crafted so many into blocks. And now, mind you, these blocks, one slime block is 9 slimes, right? So that is absolutely a ton of slime for only one slime chunk, okay? That's amazing. And look at this, we're doing really well on cactus too. Now we did have a snow golem casualty, that's why we have a snowball in here. Somehow a zombie spawned in and then we had spiders. And so I checked that out and I think it's the second floor, maybe the third floor. There is 2 spots on the sides with the way that I did the lighting that it's not exactly fantastic. So you can see these floors I alternated the lighting in order to help it out, but up here I wasn't doing that yet. Like you can see right there, there's not a ton of lighting right there. And oh yeah, and that's the third floor. So that's probably the one with the problem. You can see those dark spots on either side. So that's another thing that we're going to have to fix up. But that is going to do it for today's episode, you guys. Thank you so very much for watching. I do appreciate it. Make sure to leave a like on the video if you haven't already. Be sure to subscribe. But that's it for today. I'm AnimusJ. I'll see you in the next video.